The rising cost of childcare has families reevaluating their money matters. Some two-income families have decided to have one parent stay home to watch the kids instead of paying for expensive daycare.
Tonight, our Joe Mason looks at this trend, and he's got advice if you're trying to navigate this uncertain economy.
As a mother of 5, Christine Jordan needs space.
That's fine. That's okay.
To spread her wings. So she brought her kids here to New Brighton's Eagles Nest indoor playground.
We're getting a little cramped in the house. We need to run and jump and play.
After her second child, Christine decided to leave her job in finance and stay home because of the cost of daycare.
It's hard. It's astronomically high.
After paying off daycare, there wasn't much take-home pay.
It would have been about $50 a paycheck. So most of my paycheck would have just gone straight to daycare.
Christine is far from alone. Since January, more than 450,000 women have dropped out of the job market. The surge has been driven largely by women with young children. How tough is it for people to pay for daycare right now?
Daycare costs have really gone up, and it is tough to pay for daycare.
Bjorn Amundsen is a financial planner at Corey Hill Advisors in St. Paul.
It's one of the toughest decisions you make as a parent.
Before making a decision to stay home, he recommends separating your expenses into 2 different accounts, one for things that won't change, like your mortgage.
Second thing would be discretionary expenses. This would be basically anything you spend on a credit card. And try just putting enough money into that account so that would match what you'll get if one parent stays home. And then you can practice for a few months and see what it feels like before you pull the trigger.
Christine is glad she stays at home with the kids.
It's a hard decision to make, finding the right path that works for your family.
Each path has its own challenges. Joe Mason, 5 Eyewitness News.
Woo! What's going on, y'all? Nick here, and I'm with my brother.
Yo, what's up? This is James Eugene. Welcome to the Eugene Brothers Show. How's everything, Nick?
Man, everything is going good, man. I mean, as you probably could tell from the video that we just played, I think Kevin Samuels said that winter is coming. Winter is coming. On a serious note, we played this video because 500,000 women left the workforce in 2025 since January, y'all.
Because of daycare. Because of daycare costs.
Daycare costs, as we will find out, is actually just one of the reasons. It's just one. But rise in daycares, I mean, it's astronomical, as we saw in that video. And initially, before we go into the other videos that we have, right? So stay tuned for that, because I promise you it's going to be interesting, y'all. But what I find fascinating is that for years, since maybe the inception of feminism, we've heard women do nothing but complain about how they want to be equal to men, how they actually want to go to work, you name it. And now we in a situation where it's like we've come full circle. They got everything they wanted. They got the ability to go to work, and now they leave, and there's a mass exodus of women leaving the workforce. And as that woman said, she said, I'm actually happy I'm able to stay home, take Bro, what's your thoughts, man, before we dive any further, bro?
One, I find it, your laugh is very infectious and hilarious. But this is what the men been saying for years. I think women need to understand being treated equal doesn't necessarily mean sameness. You don't have to do everything that a man can do. You were not built and designed to do everything that men can do, but you still can be treated equal because you're necessary and vital to the team. Like, men know this better than everybody else. We have basketball team. We have 5 players with 5 different positions, and all of them are equal. Like, you can't win without the other 4 members. All of them are equal. Yeah, somebody has a star power, true, but that person who with the star power can't do it without anybody else. Same thing in football, same thing in American football, same thing with so many other sports. It's a team. Marriage is a team.
Yeah.
Play
No,
your
I think
part, and men play their part.
no, I think that's a perfect analogy, bro. It's a sport, right? It's a team. And the thing is like I love that part you mentioned in particular where you said that just because you play a different role, that doesn't mean you're less important. Like someone absolutely need to take care of the children, right? They absolutely. I think what's sad is that, even with two incomes, they finding out that just to pay off for childcare, she said that she was left with only $50.
That's
And
crazy.
it's actually, I'm laughing, but at the same time, this actually hits home because even me and my wife, this is me being transparent. We actually was in a similar situation, where working and that daycare was eating it up. The most I end up opening doors for my wife. She's now working as a teacher, so um, we afforded I guess, the luxury, and I call it a luxury, right? Because does she have to go to work? No. There was times where I was the only one working, and we could survive off of one income. I think that's the thing, right? The guy towards the end of the video, he's actually giving advice like, look, you guys may have to change your lifestyles. Can you survive on one income? I personally think you can, but we know the rhetoric. This man gotta make X amount of money in order to, you know what I'm
They,
saying?
they,
Or
they don't they don't want that apartment. They want a house.
there you go.
That's what it is. What's so interesting that that you mentioned this is that women being at home, actually the boss. They're the boss at home. Like nobody tells them how to cook, how to clean, how to, they practically their own bosses at home.
Yeah.
They could take the breaks whenever they want to, the lunch break whenever they want to, the bathroom breaks, whatever. They the own boss at home. So it's just like the man has to work. He's a slave to the woman, if you think about it. He's like, oh man, I gotta wake up every day, go outside for my family. And then the woman just support him, be like, yep, baby, I know it's cold outside, but you can handle it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. But let's actually look at this quick article that might explain things in greater detail. Let me see if I can share my screen real quick. So this is coming by way of CNN, y'all. Right? So you can see right here, it says nearly 500,000 women, have left their jobs so far this year. Here's why in their own words. All right. So reading the article, and I don't know why it's moving so fast. It's almost like weird, actually. But yeah, let's look at it from this standpoint. So it says more than 450,000 women have dropped out of the U.S. labor market since January. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, outside of the pandemic, it's one of the steepest declines on record. While there is a confluence of factors at play, one of them being what we just saw, right, you guys, being the rise of daycares. The search has been driven. Matter of fact, and before I even go further, isn't it worth noting too that majority of daycares are ran by women.
Yeah.
So like these are women, I guess, taking
Overcharging.
overcharging other women. So
Oh,
so much for the sisterhood. But all right, let's go. It said, according to the while there is a confluence of factors at play, the surge has been driven largely by women with young children. The broader trend, however, has economists sounding the alarm that the losses not only could erase the historic gains women have made since the pandemic, but also reshape the labor force for years to come. CNN heard from hundreds of women who left their job this year, some by choice, plenty not. Here are some of their experiences. Entries have been edited for length and clarity. So here's this one woman right here. She says, I'm a Black woman who recently left my job at a progressive nonprofit. On the surface, I left because of burnout. Burnout. the constant emergencies, the instability, and the toll of working in fear-based environments for years. But the deeper reason was more personal. I couldn't see myself becoming a mother in that environment. You see? So this is what I'm saying. This is a situation where it wasn't even due to the rise in daycare costs, right? She doesn't even have children yet. She just can't see herself being a mother in that environment. And look at what she said, y'all. She said, because of burnout. Because of burnout. You see, this is the kind of stuff, and we're gonna read some more quotes. But James, do you think a man could ever put that on the table? Like, hey, babe, you know, I'm burnt out. I just don't feel like working. I'm too stressed out right now. I need to quit my job.
Unfortunately, men can't say that, but they think that sometimes, but they can't say that. They can't vocalize it at all because they know the weight of the world is literally on their shoulder. The weight of the family, I should say, the weight of the family is on their shoulders. Like they may express discontentment here and there. They might think it, but this is why a lot of men hold emotions inside. Because if they show emotions to that level and that degree, the whole family gets paranoid and they panic. You see? So unfortunately, this is go ahead.
No, I would say also too, I would venture to say that the woman would also lose respect for her man, right?
Not necessarily respect. I think she would feel somewhat uncertain. Let's say if a man lost his job or he decided not to, she would feel unsafe, uncertain.
No, not lost his job. Remember, this is someone who quit because of burnout.
Yeah. She will grow resentment over time. She will. Especially if they're struggling from paycheck to paycheck, she will get resentment over time and eventually will lose respect. Yes, that is true.
We have another one. This is, as a C-suite executive and a mother of 2 young children, I was expected to be available for last-minute client meetings while also managing every detail of home and family life. The juggling made burnout inevitable. Wow. It wasn't one big breaking point. It was the slow accumulation of unrealistic demands that made it clear the system wasn't built to support working mothers. Wow. This is from Bernice Child, 42 years old. This seems like a situation where maybe the balance at home is off, right? Because like she's working, but she said the juggling, right? So therefore she's probably coming back home and still expected to cook and clean. I might be adding jelly to this, but definitely I think this is more reasonable, right? You can see here, childcare is unaffordable across most of the U.S. And this goes back to the video that we just read, right? It said the cost of childcare for infants can force women out of the workforce and back to caregiving duties. In Mississippi, where it's cheapest, childcare costs $6,868 a year. Whoa. In Washington, D.C., this rises to 20. Look, oh my gosh. 28,356. So could you imagine if somebody has a minimum wage paying job? That's their whole yearly salary.
But this is what I'm trying to say. It's like these women are outsourcing things that we naturally had in the village, we naturally had in the family. You paying somebody else to watch your kids when you could watch your kids. You paying somebody else to cook for your children in school when you could cook for your children at home. You paying somebody else for these private education when you could educate your children at home. Like you outsourcing all of these things when you yourself could provide these things. You're educated. You've got degrees. Use that to pour into your children.
No, facts. We're gonna watch this video on TikTok where this woman, she's gonna break it down even the more. So let's check this out. Make sure you guys can see my screen.
For every man who entered the workforce, 4 women left it. Wow. This year alone, here are the numbers. 44,000 men got jobs, while 212,000 women stopped working or looking for work. The percentage of working mothers with young children has dropped every single month since January, according to an analysis by the University of Kansas. While female employment had been declining for decades, employment for mothers actually soared post-pandemic, thanks in part to work from home flexibility.
I think this is very important, and there's more that's going to be said, right? But I wanted to stop here real quick because think about it. She said that because of the pandemic, the women in the workforce actually increased because a lot of work from home.
Yeah.
But you see, this is the translation that I think she's not going to say, but I'm going to say it, right? And people may hate me for it, but it is what it is. Work from home jobs are easier, period, point blank. I don't care if it's a male or female. If you work from home, it is innately easier. You're in the comfort of your own home. You don't got to wake up as early. You could sit on your couch. You can relax. There's a lot of things that you could do behind the scenes because there's not a camera and your boss breathing down your neck. It's an easier job. So who are going to seek easier jobs? Women. Again, people may not want to hear that. People may not want to hear that, but that's a reality. You see, and this is the kind of stuff where, going back to that last thing we read in the CNN business, they said that, notice the word they kept using, burnout. Burnout. It's a constant grind for men to go to work over and over, that monotonous job. And you probably not even fulfilled, but yet you're doing that because of duty and obligation. You see, women, on the other hand, you have the luxury to be like, you know what, I'm burnt out. This is no longer for me. I want to go back. You see, you have the luxury to do that. And mind you, when women do that, a lot of times men don't even look at women sideways. If my wife told me right now that she wanted to quit, it will probably be like maybe a sting, but it was like, all right, whatever. I got to do what I did in the beginning anyway. I was already doing that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you put things into perspective, right? Especially for the single moms out there. Remember, there's a lot of single mothers out there. If you put it into perspective, working home is beneficial because, one, you know, if you're privileged to have like a cheddar cheese bus, those school buses, they can pick your child from they pick up your children from home and they drop your children from home. If you're not privileged, you could drive your children to school and then pick them up. You don't got to rush from work from like 2 hours away, try to beat traffic just to pick up your child, right? Because, school ends around like 3:00 and your work leaves around 5:00. That's like 2 hours unaccounted for your child, if you think about it. So all around is beneficial. I think this is what could save families if women take on jobs from home and men do the exterior jobs, right. Things would be a lot more beneficial, I think.
James, what you're saying is 100% true, but as we're about to find out, is what happens if the stay-at-home jobs are not being affected. Matter of fact, let me let the video speak for itself, right? Because again, this is what happened after the pandemic, right? With social distancing, so people were working home anyway. Right. Now we're coming back to a kind of like a state of normalcy. Look what takes place.
But that upward trend started to reverse this past January. So what changed? For starters, as you might be thinking, many employers, including the federal government, started rolling back work from home policies. And there's been a jump this year in the number of Fortune 500 companies requiring staff to return to the office. And listen to this.
You see that? They requiring staff to return to the office. So now we're not paying you to stay your ass at home anymore. Come back to the office. Come back to the office where we could breathe down on your neck, where we could send you to get those coffee, get us some coffee when the camera is constantly looking down at you so you can't be on your phone. Yeah, you got to return back to that dystopian, dictatorship. It's a grind, bro. It's a grind. And mind
you make these bosses and CEOs look like demons with horns in their head, like, I don't want you home. I don't want you to have a family. You're mine.
It's kind of sad. We've been, it's a lot of it. I'm saying it in tongue in cheek, right? But essentially, it's not conducive for a mother. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they're saying it. They said a lot of the women that are being affected, in particular, are the younger women with children.
Yeah.
You brought up a good point too. You said that there's a 2 hour gap So you got to understand now. You got to think about aftercare, which a lot of schools offer as well, after school
Yeah.
programs. And then this is why they have to resort to daycares. Another thing too about daycares is that, as anybody who's a parent that may be listening, you would know that they pay you just for servicing your child, period, point blank. It don't matter
Yeah.
if you only leave them there for 1 hour. They don't care about that. They're getting their money off rip just because you enrolled your child in their childcare system.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? So there is no way to beat it. There's no way to say that, oh, well, you know, today I'm only going to keep my child in daycare for only an hour, so I don't really need the whole 8 hours. They don't care about that shit. You have to pay them the first, I think some daycares, that you got to pay them the first of every week, or you got to pay them every 15 days. That's how they collect their check. It's non-discriminatory. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Going back,
More than 3/4 of the country, the average price of childcare for an infant is now higher than in-state college tuition. As
What?
they say, the math just ain't mathin'.
Nah, there's something wrong. Yo, these daycares are overcharging. That's too much. They slimy. You telling me it costs more than college?
brother, I want to ask you something, brother man. Hold on, pause. These are women that do you understand? They dealing with, I think, the ratio. Some of them, you know, every state is different, but they got to be in compliance with DYCD, right? Department of Youth, and
Yeah.
some department, right? I forgot what it's called, but anyway, they got to be in compliance with DYCD. The ratio is one teacher, right? Usually a woman, to
Yeah.
about 9 children. 9 children that all are running around, all screaming, all throwing tantrums.
Mhm.
You gotta wipe their butt, right? Come on,
True.
they're not in school. They're not
Yeah.
in school. These are daycares. So this is
Yeah.
from the age of 1 to, right? So now, do you know how stressed how stressed out they are? They're underpaid, to be quite honest. They're truly underpaid when you really think about it. So now
Okay.
they're saying, the cost, because of inflation, everything is rising up. We need a higher cut. So when you think about it, it's like, yo,
Nah, when you put it like that, it makes sense. I can understand why they asking for, you know, a pay raise, or why they asking more. But then just the thought of it, daycare costing more than college, knowing how expensive college is, just the correlation between that is just like, wow, this is insane.
This is the part that I think is kind of odd, right? And this is a bit of a digression, but like, how do people calculate value and worth in society? Because, like, okay, the value to obtain information, right, aka college,
Mhm.
they put that at a higher value than protecting our future, which is children.
Good
So
point.
that's what I'm saying. It's an imbalance to begin with. So now, like I said, a lot of these women, and I know this because my wife actually was in the daycare system before she became a teacher. So this is why I'm privy to this. A lot of these women actually have college degrees, and
Yeah, they
all they
do.
try to do is obtain, the what they call work experience, so that they
Mhm.
could qualify for a school to begin with. So you got a lot of these people with college degrees, bachelors, you name it, taking care of your children, and what, you gonna pay them only $17 an hour? Think about that.
When you put it that way, it does make sense. So you said, how do we calculate value, right? So do you think that America, the way it is, has its values messed up? Because why is it that we got to pay all this money for college and we're not necessarily investing in our children per se? Because when these kids come out, like, daycare costs too much, you're fracturing families, right? That money that could be used for daycare could be used for the individual family to elevate themselves. But that's not happening any longer. Plus, you have these college situations where it's just like it demands so much time and so much money from you, you actually leave out of college in debt. And people keep saying it's an investment. Most people don't get out of debt. So
Yeah.
perhaps the way not we, but perhaps those who created this system designed it in a faulty manner to keep people impoverished,
That's
to
it.
keep people enslaved.
That's it. And that's the reason why now I think the almost like the elephant in the room is that when it comes to like relationships, right? You have these women saying certain things like, oh, this man needs to make XYZ, right? Because I think by and large, a lot of women may not even mind staying at home if they were comfortable or if they had full assurance that their man makes enough money, right? By and large. But I think what ends up happening is that, you see, these men, mind you, right? These men don't need 6 figures to take care of their family. You see, that's a lie that's being pushed. So that's why these women tend to go to work. But now they're forcing these women to go back to the homes, I think this is why I made the joke, winter is coming for a lot of these women, because they're going to start realizing like, look, you better be content with that plumber. You better be content with the mechanic. You better be content with that dude that's not making 6 figures. You better be content if you actually desire a family. Again, this right here is affecting majority of young women, young mothers, excuse me, right? That's what this is affecting. So if you desire a family, you can't have it both ways. You're going to have to take the L somehow. Or you marry some rich dude, but hey, we all can't be Cinderella, right? Everybody
Here's the thing too. Here's the thing, we got to be honest. Our ancestors didn't have social media to brainwash people into thinking, I want this type of lifestyle. They were very much content with the lifestyle that they had, providing that their basic needs was met, providing that they had a few luxuries. They could go out to dinner sometimes. They could go out to the movies, the park. They can, take a vacation trip here and there, but they weren't brainwashed by social media. It's going to be very difficult because now people like to live vicariously through other people, and people desire things beyond what they have. So now, let's say you have these women that are at home. They have husbands. The husband make majority of the money. He's not making 6 figures. He probably get paid $70,000, $70K a year. Will she be content with that? Will she look at social media, scroll, oh, I want a mansion, oh, I want this, I want that? That's the thing. You see, it's all about being content.
Facts. Yeah, Womanati saying, I came to say if she is not compliant, do not save them, fellas. Do not provide for unruly women. Also, you added, I don't make 6 figures. My business does. My wife doesn't know what paying a mortgage, car note, insurance, maintenance, groceries is. Wow. Hey, bro. That's what's up, man. You see, this is the thing. And you're right, bro. All that doom scrolling. Look, I think they say comparison is the thief of joy. Like, you probably already got a good life compared to majority of people in the world, especially if you're living in America. But all that doom scrolling, you think that you owed a trip to Dubai. For what? Just for people to crap in your mouth anyway? But we don't want to talk about that. Let's go.
By the way, the United States is the only country with an advanced economy where the share of women in the workforce is declining, not growing. Has the work from home changed, and now that people have to go back in the office, has that made women reevaluate their priorities?
I think there's a lot of policy shifts that have happened in the labor market since January. We have seen a really strong effort on return to office led by the federal government, but other large private businesses have fallen in suit. And the reduction in force of the federal government has also had an impact. Mothers and caregivers tend to, there's lots of research showing that they're willing to forego earnings for other benefits like flexibility, and government jobs tend to be flexible. And so these type of efforts have disproportionately affected women, and in particular mothers.
Is that why you took up this effort? I'm interested in what inspired you to do the analysis in the first place. And then once you did it, how surprised you were with the results, and whether there are particular subsets of women or jobs that are affected?
During the pandemic, I, on the evenings and weekends, had been crunching the numbers for parents, in particular mothers, because there was a lot of news reporting about labor force participation of women going down and then tying that to childcare. And when I looked at the numbers disaggregated by not only gender, but also parenthood, mothers were actually doing pretty well during the pandemic in terms of labor force participation. And the reason was because of that flexibility. And so back at it again, looking at the numbers now since January, since we've had a lot of shifts in policies related to flexibility, which we know from research disproportionately affects mothers.
So, Misty, I was struck by a quote that you gave the Washington Post on this subject, where you liken this moment to the part of the movie in Barbie where Ken takes over Barbie Land. Can you explain that comparison?
When I look at what's going on right now, I really feel like we're living in a Kenergy economy, in the sense that, we've got a lot of leaders who are really pounding their chest, really Ken-like, as in the movie Barbie. We've got a Mojo Dojo Casa White House, if you will, at least, January and February, there's a lot of that going on. That type of activity and effort really isn't sustainable long term. So one of the things that I keep on telling myself is, just as in the movie Barbie, some of these Kenergy vibes are probably going to dissipate relatively quickly. It's not long-term solutions to the everyday lives of actual people and how we work in society.
Well, it's so funny because is it me or did you guys also get the vibe that she was trying to blame this on men?
Kennedy vibes.
So you blaming, mind you, this is what's so crazy. Again, these daycares, majority of them are ran by women. Majority of those employees are other women. The economy as a whole is just a shit show. That's the reality of it. And because you have to fight against inflation, people need higher paying jobs. Period, point blank.
Here, this is basic economy. If I make $1 million a year as a business, and I hire you, Nick, I give you 10% every year, right? You make $100,000, right? If I hire a next person with the same position as you, they also have to take that 10%. Who do you think is going to come out of my pocket? Who do you think is going to come out of me, right? So the more people you employ, the less money that's left for the businesses themselves. That's what happened when women joined the workforce. At one time, men could pay for everything, right? But as soon as women came in, right, now the businesses is just like, hold up, we have more employees, so now we have to pay more people. That's less money for me as the business. So now guess what? As the business, what I got to do, right? Either I lay off some people or find other ways to make money. And by doing that, by finding other ways to get money, guess what's going to happen? Inflation, right? The economy is going to be built and designed a way where, because we're not tethered to money, we're not tethered to gold, they're going to have to print out money, devalue the dollar, inflation happens. So you can see the cascading effects of when you have too much people working. And it's not a bad thing. It's just we just got to navigate different things. But it also generates this women are being overworked.
No,
it's men and women competing.
I'm sorry,
it
bro.
also generates families. All of this happens.
I'm sorry, bro. You say it's not a bad thing. It is a bad thing. You see, because again, she's saying that the Kennedy is not sustainable. No, what's not sustainable is mass amounts of women foregoing motherhood to try to get these jobs. When motherhood is a job in and of itself, a very respectable job. No one was ever disrespecting women for being mothers. We need women for the advancement of society. But you see, this is what's so crazy. If a man says that, no, I value you as a woman, taking care of these children. That is, matter of fact, that's the highest, one of the highest callings ever in the world, period, point blank. This is what I'm saying. How do we value things in society? You as a mother are more valuable, at least in my personal opinion, than the doctor, than the lawyer. Just because I'm not giving you money and currency, that doesn't mean you don't have value. You are highly valuable. This is the reason why back in the day, to even get married in the first place, you had to give a bride's price. There is no husband price. It was not the woman paying the man. No, the man knew that the woman had value. This is the reason why you see all the time in the Bible. When you find a good wife, it's like you found a ruby, right? Come on, you guys got to think. Women, you are extremely valuable, but no. All you care about is money. So now we're going to be reduced. You reduced yourselves. Not that men reduced you reduced yourselves because you wanted to go into the workforce. This is highly sad. That's all it is. And now you said something good too, right, James? Because you said that, and that's why I put up Womanati's comment: trim the fat, up the pricing. Yeah, you know how they trimming the fat? AI. Why do you think there's such a big scare? These businesses know it. They're gonna implement AI heavily. Why? Because they gotta trim the fat. There's too many workers, both male and female. This is not even discriminatory at this point. You see, this is what it is. The people who are burnt out, mind you, it can happen to both men and women, but by and large, women are the ones complaining about this burnout on a higher clip. So this is why you're seeing this. But men could quit jobs too. They're just not doing it. But why? Because by nature, they probably already grew up. It was like a social norm. You got to do what you got to do to provide for your family. You can't come up with the excuse of burnout.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how many times, I don't know any dude, unless they have their own business or you really, really love your job. I don't know any dude that's waking up out of bed doing cartwheels and backflips to go to work. The burnout been there. The burnout been there for these men. We just don't quit.
Yeah, that's true. Especially if you're getting calluses in your hands and you got aches in your. Honestly, most men, you can see how they get like that old man strength because they don't even go to the gym. A lot of them, it's just the constant working, the fatigue in their muscles day in, day out. This is how they get that old man strength.
I have one last video to play. Let's see if we could check out this girl's claim. Let's check this out.
Corporate America hates Black women. For so many of us, this doesn't come as a surprise because it's a lived reality. Here's how it shows up.
And I didn't see the whole video yet, but off rip, I hate when they try to throw the race card for everything. This, from my understanding, the statistics is hitting women as a whole, but this girl is gonna say Black women. Like, all right, let's see.
Promotions dangled but never delivered, pips used as punishment, and of course, a higher bar being set for us while mediocrity gets rewarded. As an HR business partner, I've seen it over and over. Corporate dystopia disguised as every working woman's dream. If you're ready to find out the truth about HR, follow me and please leave comments if you're going through this because so many of us are. Corporate may not care, but I do.
Oh, so she wasn't even saying nothing. Man, oh my God. Yo, this is wild. What I guess to land the plane, what's your thoughts on this? Because she didn't say nothing here.
So, hey, I think because of the history of America, there could be some truth to this. Yes, there could be some truth to this because the first people to go is always the minorities, bro. It's always the minorities. It's just like, yo, I don't like Pedro today, or maybe Pedro, I'm sorry, bro, you gotta go. Jose, deuces. Oh, Daquan, I'm sorry, bro. You gotta go. You got Tyrone. Peace, man. I'm sorry. Shaniqua. Shaniqua. Later. Later.
Bro. Hey, you know what's so crazy?
Rosita. Later. I'm sorry.
Nah, bro, I ain't gonna lie. And you know it's so funny because when we talk about things like this, then someone, probably me in this instance, is gonna be labeled a coon. Oh, how you don't see that they affecting black people? Bro, stop, man. Like, I don't think this has anything to do with black and white.
It doesn't. But is this the reality of things? Is that when businesses have to let people go, they always start with the new people. They always start with the elderly. Sometimes when you're getting too old, if you're inexperienced, you don't have that tenure, you're more likely to go. If you're getting too old before retirement, sometimes people do let you go, so that way you don't reach that, your pension, which is messed up, but they do that sometimes. So there is some truth to this, though. There is some truth to this. As far as minorities go, it's today it's hard to actually quantify what racism is. It's hard to it's not hard to quantify it, but it's hard to demonstrate racism in these types of settings in 2025 because it's more covert than ever.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you, but I'm gonna just keep it a buck. I don't think this has anything to do with racism. I think this has everything to do with what jobs you're willing to put up with. Majority of people, and again, I think it's more gender-based. It don't matter if you're black, white, Chinese, Puerto Rican, I don't care. Majority of women, by and large, do not want to work in very stressful environments. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them because here's the thing, right? I actually think it's unfair, especially for the mothers, right? I'm not talking about all women. I'm talking about for the women that are in particularly being hit by this phenomenon, right? Being a mom is stressful as hell. Brother, all of the men here, switch with your wife for a day and take care of the child, and you will see it is a all day. It's 24-hour job. It's 24 hours, y'all. You get what I'm saying? The only sleep you can get is when that child's asleep. Do you understand? Like, so it is the hardest. It's already a hard ass job being a mom, and now moms have to go to work and be in a stressful environment again. This is the reason why, and then not to mention, we're not even talking about her obligation to her husband and the environment that she needs to create for her husband. So this is what I'm saying. This is why these women are burnt out. Again, it may sound bad, but honestly, these women, they did the right choice. Get out of that workforce, stay at home. And like you said, the real solution, in my personal opinion, is just be content. You don't need all that money. You don't need to go on that many vacations. When we were growing up, bro, I think our vacations was limited to just the summertime.
We went to Canada for free. Well, it wasn't free, but it wasn't like we didn't go necessarily like Bahamas or anything like that.
Right? We just spent time at our family's crib. But that's what I'm saying. You be content. And mind you, that vacation was only for us as the children. Our mom and dad was still grinding.
Still working. Yeah.
Has son, Nick, brother. Nick, I call BS. I can't tell you the countless times I have walked in on lunch to get tools out our garage, use the can, whatever. My wife was doing nothing. Damn, my brother, why you gotta do that for? Yo, she can't take a break, my
man. She catching strays, yo. She's catching unnecessary strays.
Wait. They exaggerate how hard it is, especially when the kids are babies. Those kids sleep a lot. Okay, hey. Well, you put me in dire straits here, my brother. You put me in dire straits, between a rock and a hard place. Okay, babies, granted, yes, babies are not the hardest thing in the world. Toddlers are pretty difficult. At least give me that. Toddlers are pretty difficult.
Nah. You know what? Listen. when these children become of age, they go into school. So the mom can watch Judge Judy, Judge Mathis, soap operas all day.
Okay, so then maybe then that mom should go to work. Maybe then. But during the time of like that early period, and again, we're talking about what if they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children? Like, you get what I'm saying? We can't limit the man. It's up to the man's discretion how much he wants to have.
We can't limit the woman how much children she wants to have.
Okay, sure, same. I view it the same, right?
Nah, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Nah, I don't go based on this new age stuff. It's my body.
It's not new age. It's not new age. It's based on the mom. Because she's putting her body on the line.
Okay, bro.
If she says, yo, I want 3 kids, I want 3 kids. If she says, I want 5, I want 5. You got to go based on the woman's body because mortality rates are very high for women. We got to take that into consideration. The mortality rate is very high.
This is in the spirit of what I'm saying is that's up to the couple. They choose what they want. They decide together, and they come to that conclusion. All I'm saying is that if these children continually get pushed out over and over, there's a reality that you gotta take care of them, right? You made your bed, now you gotta lay in it. You chose to have those children. They didn't ask to come to this world. You made them, now you gotta take care of them. And if you're not gonna actively take care of them, then you gotta go to a daycare. But then again, listen to what that woman said. After I paid off that daycare, I was left with $50. Brothers and sisters, men, all the men here, I'm sure you could go to work, pay all the bills, and you could give your wife way more than just $50. You get what I'm saying? So
maybe 51. 51.
No, yeah, 51. That is the sweet spot. So guess what? If you give her those $51, but you got to ask yourself, was it worth it for another woman to teach your child? Do you know the mindset of this other woman? If your child pisses this other woman off, are they gonna treat her the way your wife would? Mm-hmm. This is what I'm saying. Do you know how much abuse takes place in these daycares that goes unreported?
True.
I mean, they're babies, right? What can they say? It's not like you can interrogate a baby now. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about, right? We got to be wise. I think personally, and I'm gonna land the plane on this because it's 47 minutes. I think it's best for these women. Look, y'all made the right choice. Just go back home. If you do want to work later on in your life when these children are old enough to take care of themselves. But at this current junction of your life, it's best for you to stay home. What's your last things to say, bro?
Honestly, truthfully, I think women should work. Either women work from home or just be a stay-at-home wife. Let the men do all the things outside, you know. That's 1. 2, maybe these jobs should just like provide maternity leave for like 2 years or something, 2, 3 years.
Yes.
Maybe that's the solution. It might cost you less in the long run because it's just like, I don't know. Maybe the maternity leave could be a place where you don't pay the full amount of the annual salary, but maybe it could be half that, maybe 60%. That could be reasonable for maternity leave.
You gotta think about it. Like if you were the business owner, and let's say for the sake of conversation, you have 50% of your workforce that is women. You're willing, and could you imagine if they all have babies around the same time? You're willing to let your whole I'm just saying. I mean,
no, but you see how difficult it is when somebody get pregnant. It's very difficult because what's truly the answer? To me, the answer would make sense that women stay home. You protect. You got the kids. The man work outside, right? And then the jobs can now pay the men more money so that they could provide for the family.
That would be dope if you could prove that your wife is pregnant and somehow the job is not obliged to pay you more to compensate.
Yes.
That would be fire.
Because think about it. Think about it.
brainstorm.
Think about it for a second, right? There's a population decline in Europe, in America, China, and Japan. Why not incentivize the men to take care of their families? Give them extra pay so they can take care of their family. The woman is not happy. That makes perfect sense, right? Elevate women to their rightful status, and that's it. I land my plane.
I'm gonna end off on some comments here. Womanati, I have multiple children. They be in school, LOL. The baby be asleep, need to eat, pamper change, back to sleep. They exaggerate how hard it is. He later on said UK is a year. I guess for maternity leave, US is like a month. That's true. I think the US is I think it is a month. Maybe
A
2
month?
months.
That's crazy.
Maybe 2 months tops. I think 2 months tops, depending on the job. Hey, bless you, bro, Danny. Bless you, bless you.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, I agree. It should be longer. Hey, so that's all we got. If you guys like this video, please like, subscribe, comment down below. It means a lot. Please support also our dedicated Eugene Brothers 3 channel. I forgot to put it in the chat, but if you guys get a chance, please subscribe over to that channel. I'll probably put it in the description section after this live. But with that being said, Nick James over and out. Yeshua is king, y'all. Shalom.
Double peace.